Thank you. I would like to advise all those present that notice of this meeting has been provided to the public in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, and that notice was published in the Jersey Journal and City website. Copies were provided in the Hoboken Reporter, the Record, the Newark Star Ledger, and also placed on the bulletin board in the lobby of City Hall. Written objections shall be made to the city clerk. Please rise to salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Cohn? Bill? Mr. Cohn?
Here, can you hear me?
Yes. Mr. Fusco? Mr. Doyle? Mrs. Falco?
Jimmy, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Mrs. Jabor?
Here.
Mr. Ramos?
Present. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
We can hear you, Jim.
Mr. Russo? President Giantino?
Here.
Quorum present. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Farina. We are going to start this evening with a presentation from the Hoboken Business Alliance. And we have...
Okay, I can't hear you. Maybe that's a blessing.
Wait, let me make it so it's mutual. There we go. We can't hear you either now. We're going to start this evening with a presentation from the Hoboken Business Alliance, and we have Greg Delaquila on screen. Greg, do you want to begin?
Yes. So thank you, and thank you.
Can I quickly interrupt you? And I just want to be clear that tonight we are not voting on the budget. So tonight is just a presentation of basically what they have done over the past year. The hearing on the budget will be December 16th.
Okay. Thank you, council persons and city officials and everybody who's watching. I'm Greg Delaquila. I'm the current president of the Hoboken Business Alliance, the newly formed improvement district in Hoboken. We're going to do a slide presentation. 6 feet away from me is our executive director, Stuart Copperweiss, who runs the day-to-day operations. And before we start with the slideshow and I run you through the first introductory slides, I just want to see everyone and tell you how proud I am to be a part of an organization, running an organization like the Hoboken Business Alliance. I think our business community and our commercial property owners and the city at large has never needed an improvement district more now than they ever have. So with that, I'm going to start with the slideshow. This is just an overview of some pictures that were put into a collage that shows the 2020 year in review.
You haven't shared it yet, right?
No, I have to share this.
You haven't shared this
All right.
yet.
Hold on.
Apologize for that.
That's all right.
Problem is,
Here.
no, I got, I was just doing it.
Here you go.
Okay.
There you go.
No, you don't, I don't want that.
There you go.
There's a full view. I just want to do this. There we go.
Beautiful.
Great.
Okay, so this is the collage of photos. I've heard it from residents throughout the city. I live in the center of Hoboken. I own a business or businesses throughout the city. One in Southwest Hoboken, so I hear the Hoboken Business Alliance throughout the city, Washington Street, from business owners, from residents, that we have been visible throughout the community. We formed and started in January 2020. It was a little atypical. Typically, we get funded immediately in Improvement District, but that wasn't the case. So we got funded somewhere around March. You know, our improvement district and the Hoboken Business Alliance had a strategic plan, and our plan included short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals. What we were going to do in the first 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, and some, you know, higher reaching goals. And we did not assume that we were going to be hit with a global health crisis, one that was devastating to our economy and the country. But I will tell you that this is where I say the importance of having this improvement district, this Hoboken Business Alliance now has never been needed more. We were able to, because we are a private organization, we were able to represent the commercial property and business owners immediately, and, you know, switch gears immediately, so that people, the community, the business owners feel safe. We disseminated information. We formed and forged a very strong partnership with the city of Hoboken, the governing body, which is critical to making this organization a success. And I heard from a lot of people that, especially my neighbor, what are we going to do? What are we going to do about residential apartment buildings? And how are they being impacted? And what I would tell you is the vacancy rates have never been higher right now. Apartment buildings that I and others that I've collaborated with and spoken with, we're at 15% vacancy. And we have to remember why we live in Hoboken. We live here because of its charm, its downtown, its community. That's why we live here. And the Hoboken Business Alliance's partnerships with the city and our mission is to enhance our business community, which will attract and retain all types of commercial properties and other property types, including retail, including commercial office. That's why they want to work here. That's why they want to live here. So our mission has never been needed more now than ever before. And I feel very proud that we steered the recovery task force. I was on that task force with the executive director, Stuart Copperweiss, and, the business owners all had their specific reopening guidelines that they were set to come up with by order of the city and directed by the city. But, those business owners were looking at us as the smartest person in the room, meaning we steered that committee, right? And that's what we did. We disseminated information on grants, on health information. We partnered with local nonprofits, the Hoboken Relief Fund, Flag, Hoboken Heals. Like, I've never been so proud to be a part of an organization and have board members that are so committed that they went through a steering committee for 18 months, and during a global pandemic that were impacting their businesses, we're still meeting and figuring out how to collaborate with the city to keep our businesses operating. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Stuart. This is our mission. It's to energize, enhance Hoboken businesses environment, to maximize consumer engagement through collaborative alliances with business, government, community, to create a place where small businesses desire to be and thrive. This is why we live here. This is why people want to relocate their offices here. We could all agree with that. I'm going to pass it over to Stuart. He's going to walk us through the day-to-day operations of what we accomplished, which coming in funded 3 months late and in a global pandemic, I think we accomplished more than 3/4, if not more, of what we said we were going to do. So I'm going to pass it over to Stuart and thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg. Good evening, everyone, council members, city officials. Thank you very much. Councilwoman Fisher, obviously, for working with us on our board and supporting all of our activities. We really appreciate all you've been doing with us, and particularly the rest of the city. So, right now in the beginning, we started back in March. We really set up in January, but we started in March. And what we had to do is figure out what was happening to us because of COVID. And so we worked, as Greg mentioned earlier, we steered our economic recovery task force. We introduced statewide best practices. I actually have worked with a variety of different state organizations. I sit on a recovery program with the senator from my district and my hometown area in Monmouth County. I also work with statewide organizations in downtown New Jersey and other organizations as well. And we were able to put together a variety of best practices and leverage those connections to help all create an economic vitality for our businesses. During the reopening, as I mentioned, we were advocating for our businesses. We amplified the news. We created multiple campaigns. We wrote editorials. We put together articles. We held some seminars. And we worked as much as we could with the city, as you can tell, by putting together a variety of different programs, which we're going to go into right now. Some of them being visual capital. And I'm going through it in the sense of what has actually occurred and how our budget is set up for 2020. And what we've done is one of the first items was visual capital programs. Our first year was focused mostly on the Main Street Business Corridor. And we were able to, I thought, be very successful. We put up, as you can see, some holiday lights. We did some banners. We did a variety of streetscape design elements. We did some tree pruning and replacement. And seasonal lights and banners, as you can tell, are going up, have been up. And we're going to have new holiday lights going up as well. And one of the things we did was wrapping our utility boxes with a Hoboken, which is a Hoboken first. You can see the design there. Here's one of them that just went up today. As you can see, this is just the beginning, and we're going to continue working on these utility boxes as we move forward throughout the year and working with the city. And I thank the city officials for helping us. As I mentioned, we did cleaning, painting, weeding. We went through a whole big program. We started that back in June and then into July. Pressure washing the sidewalks, utility box graffiti removal, and tree well plantings. We're going to expand this program in 2021 to be able to hit other areas as well. So we're very excited about the ability to not only have a success, but now to be able to expand that program at the same time. One of the things that we were able to do also is work with the city is to partner in putting together the parklets, the street, and the streeteries. And I can't thank, Director Gonzalez enough for her support and working with the city officials and putting all this together and helping us. We actually funded 36 approved streeteries. Of all the streeteries, if you look at them in the blue area on your screen over here, a lot of them are off of Main Street. So a lot of these streeteries didn't really follow our Main Street. A lot of them became parklets, but we were able to put a lot of the streeteries outside of Main Street, Washington Street, and move it on to all the other areas within the city. The Summer Streets program started out as, a slow streets, a city streets, and open streets initiative that was created by the city. And then we were able to expand upon that and create the Summer Streets with a whole marketing campaign. And as you can see, all of our masks that we're utilizing, and people have them all over. And we had 52 businesses participated in our Summer Street program, which we worked in partnership with the city, which I thought was very, very exciting. And here's just some of the comments that we got that, Daisy's Wearable Art gained 5 new customers, usually not open on Sunday yet, but they're glad they did it. Definitely had a good thing going, and they thanked us for Ben & Jerry's, McSwiggin's, et cetera, et cetera. So that's just some of the support that we were getting from the Summer Streets program. Then we needed to figure out how we're going to support our retailers even further beyond that. And we created a 40% off Hoboken gift card program, which was a huge success. We had more than 117 diverse businesses participated both on and off Washington Street, generating more than 3,000 customer visits generated in this whole program. Shakeable obviously thanks us so much. And here's a little bit more in terms of the gift card program. Right up here, Celeste from Ascena Soul Practice. Gift card program was such a fantastic and successful program. It was a win-win for local residents to support small businesses. That's what we needed to do. We were working with a variety of different small businesses, and as you can see at Luna and at Nikki's Up and Out Salon as well. Then we decided, all right, how are we going to expand upon that and support our retailers moving into the fall? And what we were able to come up with is a Hoboken food crawl and also a sidewalk sale. We had 52 participating eateries supporting this program, and of that, the participants were able to, we're totaling more than $2,500 in support for the program and in businesses as well. This was extremely well received program. And then on our business attraction sidewalk sales, we did 6 days of Visit to Win shopping program. Of course, 2 weekends participated. 27 retailers participated. As you can see, some of the signs over here. Business attraction. This one is what we really were looking to figure out how to work on a little bit harder, because we needed to figure out how to bring people in. But COVID was really giving us a problem in the beginning. So we worked on purchase gift cards to help Hoboken businesses. We worked with Flag. We worked with the Relief Fund. And we also worked with Heal Hoboken in order to support community partnerships. Our communication program in terms of our direct mail, social media, and website is now up and running. We receive hundreds of phone calls and applications and emails I get through all the time. They come to me and registered, and we support them. And in fact, the mayor's office and the city members and directors speak to us all the time about, they direct, a question comes in on economic development and they direct it right to our offices. And I usually get an email right from the mayor's office or from the staff people putting us together. So again, creating a partnership with both the mayor's office and the council at the same time. Our Here for Hoboken campaign was launched in the beginning of April, right as the pandemic was, expanding, if you will, and shutting us down. It was an award-winning video that spotlighted our efforts and also the city in terms of we're here. And then we put together a Go Hoboken campaign. Hashtag Hoboken, go shop, go eat, go explore Hoboken. It was a very, very reaching 20,000 additional followers throughout the city. And our marketing campaign, our resource center, we were able to put together a variety of information for the first 2 or 3 months. I would say March, April. All I was doing was scouring the internet and working with my statewide contacts, trying to figure out what can we do how can we bring as much information out there. And every day we were updating our website in order to support our local businesses. At the same time, we decided to put together a business map, which was just launched. And it's a mapping tool and a visitor's guide. It's going to allow people to be able to figure out where businesses are throughout the entire city. And as you can see, they're located throughout the city. And that's why our improvement district is a citywide improvement district, one of the most successful ones, I have to say, in the state. And we get calls about that all the time from a variety of different individuals throughout the state of New Jersey. We were able to do this with partnering with the Stevens Institute of Technology and the city at the same time. It was a great opportunity for us to do outreach. Our social media continues to grow. We're working on it. We're able to use our grant applications, Summer Streets, and Go Hoboken campaigns. Everybody's actively engaged in real-time sharing. Social media management, these are just some of the comments we've gotten there from We Cafe. Thank you so much for offering to promote us. We're honored. And I don't know if you noticed that I actually get Food and Wine magazine, and I realized that they were featured in this November issues of Food and Wine, which is really exciting to have a Hoboken business featured in a national magazine. So I congratulate them on that at the same time. Marketing, public relations, these are just some of the areas that we reached into. The Jersey Journal, of course, tapped into. We worked and did interviews with News 12, Inside in New Jersey, and WPIX. And of course, we were working with the city on that at the same time as well. And with that, if you recall, that was the beginning of our Summer Streets program. I know we were all out there. We had a variety of different interviews. It was a very exciting year for us. You probably see some of the shirts around, our masks around. And if anybody needs any masks, please allow us, shoot me an email, and we'll be happy to give you them as quickly as possible for you and your staff and your constituents at the same time. I thank you very much for allowing us to work in partnership with the city this year. It's been a very exciting and tumultuous year, given the fact that we had this pandemic. But we also, I believe, have created a tremendous amount of goodwill and partnership not only with the city, but our businesses at the same time, and allowing us to grow. And we're looking forward to doing that with your support in 2021. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to Greg. And oh, you're good?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just want to say in closing that, you know, if the viewers or the city council persons don't know, I have been very actively involved in business organizations, past president of the Hoboken Rotary Club, past president of the Hoboken Chamber of Commerce. I'm on a couple different other boards, the Hoboken Historical Museum, and they're all important. And what I want to tell you is, like, if to some viewers, they may watch all these different slides and either it goes in one ear and out the other, or they're really understanding it. But what I want you to hear is that if the Hoboken Business Alliance did not exist, I don't know where the business community of Hoboken would currently be. But I would tell you this, that it would not be in as good of a place as it was with all of the support, the city council, the city, the commercial property owners, the mayor's office, everybody who partnered with us. And one last thing I really want to mention is that through all the organizations I have ever been in, ones that are like inert as the historical museum, I have never felt such a collaborative, being part of such a collaborative organization where the city listens to us, the city council listens to us, we listen to the city. Like, I feel like at the pinnacle of all the organizations I've been involved in, and I'm just grateful that we got this accomplished, because I know it's been a long time coming. So thank you again. And I'd like to thank Stuart. Let me put on my mask. Stuart Copperweiss, our executive director, and all of our board members, and everyone for allowing us to do what our mission is set out to do. So thank you again.
Thank you. We appreciate it. And if there's any questions, we're happy to answer anything regarding our 2020 programs that we went through. And if that's okay with you, Council President, I'll stop sharing at this time.
Perfect. You're already stopped.
Oh, yeah? Oh, it looked like I did. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. And Greg, I couldn't agree with you more on, thank God this started this year, because without it, and without the SID or the Hoboken Business Alliance and the pandemic happening, I think our businesses would have suffered a lot more than they have. So we appreciate that.
Council President?
Yes, Councilman.
Do you want, I know we have to start our regular meeting soon. Do you want to wait until the
No, the meeting started.
Okay, we formally started the meeting? Great.
Correct.
So I have a couple questions. I remember when we first started this, I remember Greg actually reached out to me personally and said to me, I know you have concerns, but I want you to hold me accountable, and I want you to always express those concerns. So I'm here now a year later, and I'm going to ask some specific questions. When you were going through your slides, a lot of it is very good to see. However, a lot of it is also what we like to call vanity metrics. Social media.
I'm sorry, Mike.
I said a lot of it was vanity metrics.
Oh, vanity, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, who's following us on social media, how many likes we have, what our email list is comprised of.
Mhm.
What I'd like to know specifically is, what's the ROI on that? What does that equate to? So how are we monitoring all of our key performance indicators, and what are those specific indicators as to what the accomplishments were? And specifically, and not to discount the rest of the city, but I represent the third ward, so I focus on the third ward. Specifically, those properties in the ward that I had the major concerns about, those smaller buildings, a family home where the landlord's still trying to figure out how they're paying their bills, making their mortgage, making their tax payments, so on and so forth. So what are those key performance indicators first? And can you give me those specifics as to what that looks like in the third ward specifically?
So I live in the third ward. I own property in the third ward. You may hear what I'm about to say and call it vanity metrics, but Stuart may be able to help us. I think first and foremost, we focused on Washington Street, with the waterfront, the way this improvement district was set up, which was quite complex. And that's another thing I think we're proud of, is that the entirety of this city is included. And we dialed down the assessments in wards that we were not going to focus our total assessment dollars on. We dialed those down, including the third ward, which is included in what we call our hybrid sub-district. But what I would respond to you as a considerable assessed residential building, and my next door neighbor, who I've known my entire life, Rose Markle, who will sit on the stoop with me and talk about what is the HBA doing for me. What I respond is the same thing, which is, without the attraction, what is the reason people come to live at Rose Markle's and other 5-family or 10-family rent-controlled apartments? What is the reason that they come to Hoboken? It's our downtown, it's our waterfront, it's our community. So the Hoboken Business Alliance has been keeping that alive so that people will be attracted to come here. Do I have an actual metric?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Stuart, then go for
So
it.
thank you, Councilman. Again, I understand your concerns, and obviously you voiced those concerns last year and throughout. One of the things that we pride ourselves in doing this year throughout the program is connecting with a lot of the businesses throughout the city, including in the third ward. So what we were able to do is have them sign up for our retail programs. And some of the returns on that is that, we invested about $50,000 into this program, a little bit more, but the businesses saw over a $300,000 return into their businesses in the city of Hoboken. I think that's a tremendous return.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's not a tremendous return, but what is that specific to its prior return? So $300,000 return, is that specific to the actions taken by the
Yes.
improvement district?
Yes.
And how are we measuring that? And that's what I really
We're measuring that by the information that we're receiving from the participants in those programs. More than 117 participants in our 40% off gift card program, 50 some odd participants in our slow streets program, another 60 or 70 participants in our our food crawl program, and all of them saying thank you, Business Alliance, for being there to give us the opportunity to gain our customer base back in a situation when we were just being closed down for months at a time. And now we're trying to get back on our feet. You gave us our posters, you gave us an opportunity, you gave us marketing mechanisms, and you gave us funding in order for us to be able to open up our doors and get our customers back. I think that this type of metric, if you will, it's not vanity at all. I'm sorry that you feel that way, but I think these are hard facts and they speak for themselves. And if you go out into your retailers and speak to them directly, I think you will find that they are very, very excited and thrilled that we're here.
Yeah, and just so you understand, Stuart, a likes on a social media account or the number of emails you have on your email list is in fact by definition a vanity metric. It's the return on it's the return on investment is where you're looking to really understand, because if a restaurant in the third ward had a $300,000 increase in their sales, I say you hit it out of the park, no question. But the reality is I don't know where we are as a starting point for that individual. And of course you have to take the pandemic into effect. But at the end of the day, I would like to understand better what those actual ROIs are, so I can understand if in fact this program is doing what it said it would do, and if we are going to continue at this level or an increased level or a decreased level. That's how I make decisions from a business perspective. So without understanding those numbers, like any businessman, and I'm sure Greg will tell you, if you don't understand your numbers, you're never going to get anywhere in business. So I like to understand the numbers, and that's what I'm asking for. And if you don't have them right now, that's fine, and you get them to me, I would appreciate that. But that's one of my concerns. Some other concerns that I have right now, Stuart, how many SIDS are you doing across the state?
Do I, my company operate? Or how many SIDS am I associated with? I don't understand the question.
Yes, how many SIDS are you associated with?
Oh,
Current SIDS that are functioning.
I don't understand the question. Associated with? I'm part of a statewide organization that's associated with over 100 improvement districts that I sit on the board of directors on.
Okay.
So,
How many are you specifically involved with from your business?
you're talking about who has hired me to run my... Oh, two.
Two.
Yeah.
So Hoboken and
Fort Lee.
Fort Lee. And that's full time, both of those?
I have staff that work with me, yes. Like any other business, we work with staffing to make sure that we can fulfill our duties and obligations.
Just asking the question, Stuart.
Sure.
So what are the next benchmarks for the coming year?
Well, that's what we're going to discuss in our 2021 budget.
Okay. So when are we actually going to go over that? During the resolution or
December 16th, we're having the hearing.
after we vote tonight to approve it?
No, we're not approving it. We're just it's like it requires 28 days between introduction and hearing, so.
So we'll introduce it tonight, and then just like our municipal budget will come back to us and we'll finalize it.
Yeah, and you can ask if you have any questions, you can call Stuart, Greg, anyone, before then and get as much information as you want.
Good. And then do we have a physical location in Hoboken as well for the SID, for the Business Alliance?
Yes, we do. It's at 50 Harrison Street.
Okay.
Where we're live from today, from 50 Rock.
Yep. Good.
And for you councilmen and other council people, please recognize the fact that my phone number is out there. I think you all have my contact information. I'd be happy to sit down with you one-on-one or with a variety of people and go over any questions and answer any issues that you have. I look forward to those questions, and if you want to email them to me, I'll certainly get back to you with the answers.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I most certainly will. And then just the final question. I know you spoke about some of the businesses specifically in the third ward, and Greg alluded to, people wanting to come here, and that's how it helps those individual landlords who are not in the commercial development business per se, but they happen to have a building that may have 8 units in it or 10 units in it. What specifically was the benefit for them that we could point to in a metrics kind of way, rather than saying, just because we think the downtown district is going to thrive more because of this, they will benefit. I believe that Hoboken was benefiting well before we decided to do a special improvement district. I think now with the pandemic that has changed a little bit, but the reality is I don't think a special improvement district before a pandemic would have necessarily done anything to change the way we rented our units in the city of Hoboken. So is there anything specific that you could tell me for those landlords or building owners in the third ward?
So I'm going to speak just from my own self, my own perspective, my own property. I have a 10-unit building in the third ward. I have vacancy right now. When we do tours, people are coming and saying, we're looking at Jersey City and other municipalities. And I think Jersey City is probably our biggest competing market. If they're not already leaving Hoboken to go to the suburbs and elsewhere. And I would just tell you that from my own experience, from listening in my staff meetings, people come to Hoboken for the community that we all know it to be. That's why they come here. Now, if we're talking about people that are already living here, I want to make that distinction, but attracting new people to come here, they come here for a reason. So I just say the same thing. Why would they come here? They come here for how much is my rent? They come here for how nice is my apartment? They come here for, I know for myself where I live in the third ward, I have bread guy down the block, the shoe guy down the block. I get my hair bought, all within a 2-block radius. That's why I live there.
That's
Now,
why it's the
all
best
those
ward in the
shops-
city.
What's that?
That's why it's the best ward in the city. No, I'm only.
But I would, no, listen, I wouldn't disagree with you. I didn't think I was going to like it when I first chose to live there. But what I would say is, if those businesses didn't participate, and I remember speaking to Grace of Leo's, and she asked me similar questions. Now she's really, I think she's in the fourth ward, but I consider her a third ward business. And I would tell you that she said the same things to me. When are you going to come here and when are you going to spend some money of the assessments that you've collected in our area? And it's funny enough, she has Hoboken Business Alliance provided barricades around the sidewalk across the street from her. And when I explained to her that people come to Hoboken, go to Leo's, and then go out there afterwards. I mean, I don't know if I can quantify those metrics, and I don't know if we ever can, but I'm going to tell you that the moral support that we provided during the pandemic is probably worth some value. You can't quantify these things, but I will tell you that you can still hold me accountable, and I'm still going to be committed as I am today, and our board members are, moving forward, because it's only going to get better as our marketing and branding continue to retain and attract people to live, work, shop, dine, live here.
I appreciate all of it, and I think you're correct in saying in these times it's been a benefit. What I would suggest, and take this for what it's worth, I think it's important that you guys figure out a way to quantify it, figure out a way to measure that stuff, because this is not a question I'm just asking now, right? I'm going to ask this question literally every year that it comes before me and I serve on this council, just like I do when our budget comes before us. So it's important for us to know. It's important for the residents to know, and most certainly important for those businesses and those landlords who are paying into it, for them to know, because I think there's still some outstanding questions, and I would hope that we could figure it out after a full year, albeit a little crazy this year. I think we should be able to figure out what those metrics should be and how we're going to measure that into the future. So that's
our retail market analysis was, we did not do it, but I'm going to tell you how one of the metrics, when your business owner constituents who Pratik Patel from Caparinos and Adamanelli's, who just joined our board, they're going to tell you, Mike, those business owners are going to tell you that we're doing better. That's going to be one of the metrics, but we're going to get you hard metrics.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Greg. Thanks.
Council President.
Yes, Councilwoman.
Yeah. So, first of all, I just want to thank Greg and Stuart for giving such a great presentation tonight. I can tell you, I actually met Greg for the very first time. I think it was 2016 when he was head of the chamber, and I sat down with him and said, can we do something more for economic development in Hoboken? And he was just a wealth of information. And kind of that conversation grew. It grew. I ended up spending time with Stephen Marks, who between he and I, we kind of developed the idea of doing a special improvement district and bringing Stuart to do the assessment on whether or not we could actually have one. I have to tell you this, that in a year that no one could have predicted, the first year for a startup like any organization is always going to be challenging, but to do it in the face of the pandemic and to be able to hit on so many different initiatives and be able to add value, even if, to Councilman Russo's point, it may not be fully quantifiable with the metrics that you would typically like to see. I'm just so proud of what Greg and Stuart and the entire board has done. And I think next year, hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, if we're the hope, the glimmers of hope that we're starting to see that we may be turning a corner sometime in the spring, I just feel like all of this is going to come together perfectly. And this organization is really going to drive the recovery for Hoboken. So we hadn't had any type of economic development focus for the last decade and a half. We made a number of choices locally that actually, I think, negatively impacted our local economy, and just being able to have a funded entity with leadership like we have, and really leadership represented by a board of commercial property owners to really drive the direction, I think is just a huge win. And I'm so excited, for what it's going to be next year. And I also will say that it's been great because it is a politically neutral entity, which has been fantastic. The partnership with every person on the council, the entire administration for all of the programming, like it's a great breath of fresh air, and really targeted in the right way. So just want to say all that, and I hope people are supportive of the budget and what 2021 looks like next month.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Council President?
Yes, Councilman.
Yeah, just a few quick comments. One of the things that, and I think it was included in Greg's presentation, I want to thank Greg and Stuart for the presentation, was in terms of providing resources, a lot of these businesses needed help with dealing with grant applications, with funding, with COVID issues, with how to run businesses, with how to deal with being a working parent in the middle of COVID. And all these resources are on the website, and they're referenced. But that it's not just moral support; it's actual support. And I can tell you, working with Council President Giattino on the Hoboken Relief Fund, Stuart was a wealth of information to me when we were starting up, how we were going to organize. We were originally partnering with the SID as an agent and as a possible escrow agent. We got our own 501c3 status, but didn't need them. But they were so flexible, so helpful, and really helped get the Hoboken Relief Fund off the ground. And we've since raised $420,000 through that entity. So, I mean, there are true financial benefits that the city has received and that city businesses have received because of having expertise like Stuart Copperwace available to us. And to Councilman Russo, to the extent you have questions about these issues, Stuart is a great resource to you, and he'll answer your questions. And if he doesn't know the answer, he'll get it for you. So, you can take advantage of the few weeks between now and, our budget hearing. And I think that, you should tap that resource and maybe you can find a better level of comfort. But I just want to thank them for their work and for what they've accomplished in a very difficult year. And I've heard so much from so many businesses in town, how much appreciation there is. And, you can see it on Washington Street. I do think there's a buzz back on Washington Street despite it all. And I think that the Business Alliance is part of that. So thank you. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman. Other council members?
I just have a quick question. Can you talk about the budget amount and the increase and where you expect the increase to be allocated and why, in fact, there is an increase?
So that's directly about the 2021 budget you're referencing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I believe that conversation takes place at the public hearing. If you want to go over that with me individually, I'd be happy to do so. I just don't have all that information in front of me right now for the 2021 budget.
Councilwoman, we at the very beginning, we had said we're going to make this about the presentation about what happened this year. Okay. But on December 16th, we have the public hearing. But I do ask that if there are specific questions, like the exact one you have, Stuart, if you could connect with Vanessa
Mhm.
prior to that. Of course, you can ask at the hearing as well, but just prior to that, so she can, fully know what your plans are.
Yeah, I'd be happy to sit down with you and go over every line item piece by piece. In fact, what we've done for our 2020-21 budget is look at our year-to-date spending on 2020 and anticipate what our balance of the year is going to be, and then figure out exactly what we're trying to accomplish in 2021. So I can share all that information with you if you like.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you.
Other council members? I believe not. I really appreciate both of your time and your work over the past year. Thank you, Councilwoman Fisher, and to everyone on the Hoboken Business Alliance Board. Much appreciated, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your evening and have a happy and healthy holiday.
Thank you. You too.
Okay, thank you very much. With that, we'll sign off. Thank you.
Take care.
And please feel free to reach out to us via email, and I will be happy to sit down with any one of you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Screen share. Just a couple bookkeeping items. CD6 has been removed from the agenda. B300 ordinance for second reading is being carried. That's ordinance number 3. And ordinances 1 and 2 for first reading are being removed. Oh, I missed one. Oh no, that was it, because that was the towing was an ordinance, correct?
Yes.
Council President? The first one, which may very well be able to be voted on tonight, if we could discuss that briefly. Councilman DeFusco and I have been going back and forth, and I think there's a cure that exists, and so if we could not pull or carry that right now, and we can see what the sense of the
that I didn't pull that one. Are you talking about corner lots?
Yes.
No, for first reading, ordinances 1 and 2 for first reading, not ordinances 1 and 2 for second.
Okay, never mind.
Thank you. There's going to be an amendment.
Well, no, there may not be. That's I'll be happy to talk about it when we get there, if that's okay.
Okay. I will say I have told people it was being voted on for first reading. So if it's fine as is, I think we need to wait till the next council meeting, only because that was my understanding, and
Okay.
People,
Fair enough.
but we can discuss it when we get there.
Okay. Yeah, just briefly. Maybe we can. Yeah, all right. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have public portion.
All right.
Oops. Hello, Ms. Angley.
Good evening, Council President and members of the City Council. My name is Sharon Angley, and I'm the President of the Hoboken Board of Education. Tonight, I'm calling in to share my President's report that I shared with the board at our last public meeting held on Tuesday, November 10th. I think we can all agree that pilot agreements as they stand do not benefit public education. In a city like Hoboken, pilot agreements should not be necessary to incentivize development, and as we have all seen, they dismantle the way finances should work in a community. When a city negotiates a pilot agreement with a developer, they negotiate away the traditional taxes that the development would have paid to the Hoboken Public School District to fund public education, if not for the pilot agreement. Instead, the pilot payments by law can only go directly to the city and the county. In 2016, the City Council passed a resolution to right this wrong by committing to pay the Hoboken Public School District a portion of the city's payment. This payment was meant to alleviate some of the burden put on Hoboken taxpayers as a result of this pilot, in addition to addressing the additional enrollment the school district will experience as a result of this development. If we fast forward to today, we know that the city has budgeted the amount to be paid to the district in its current budget. However, the money has not been paid. Recently, the board has put out numerous factual communications regarding the pilot and simply has asked the City Council to recognize what is lawful and to proceed accordingly. The Board of Education stands clear that as the only taxing authority with regard to school taxes in Hoboken, as the only school district in Hoboken to experience overall enrollment growth as a result of development, and the fact that it is not lawful for the City Council nor the BOE to cut checks to the charter schools, that the payment be made to the Hoboken Public School District. On Tuesday, November 10th, the Education Subcommittee of the City Council organized a virtual meeting that Ms. Catamatori, Ms. McGurk, Mr. Gagliardi, and I participated in, along with charter representatives, their legal counsel, and representatives from the City Council, councilpersons Jabor, Giattino, Ramos, and Fisher. While the City Council has moved on from suggesting all unlawful means of sharing the pilot money with the charters, the attorney representing the charters will be going to Trenton to advocate for the pilot funds be shared via their funding formula. He will keep our board attorney, Mr. Gagliardi, abreast of his communications with Trenton, which will determine the board's path forward. We have been firm and clear that while the charters can advocate for themselves, the duty of the Hoboken Board of Education is to ensure that any path forward will not harm the students of the Hoboken Public School District. Thank you so much for your time and have a wonderful night.
Thank you, Ms. Angley. Have a great evening.
You too.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Hello, Ms. Perry. I just turned off your video. We don't have a video for speakers during public portion.
Okay.
But we can hear you.
Great. Thank you so much. Hello, my name is Renee Perry. I'm a resident of Hoboken and have children at Brand School. I happen to also be a high school math teacher. Over the past few meetings, parents have spoken about the pilot issue. Tonight, I would like to congratulate the Hoboken Public School District on the work that it did last spring during the COVID-19 pandemic and is continuing to do so. Most don't know this, but last year, parents received communications from principals and the superintendent every day. These communications included daily notices, videos, academic updates, teacher stories, resources, and so much more. The schools hosted spirit and field days, art activities, and the district held remote concerts and talent shows to keep the morale high. As a result of their hard work, the Hoboken Public School District was awarded the Project Lead the Way Community Celebration Award. This award highlights school districts that redefined compassion and understanding and integrated the ability to adapt and grow to meet the needs of the ever-changing world and the stresses placed on our daily lives. As an award winner, the Hoboken Public School District was identified as creating a comprehensive and equitable plan that ensured that all families had access to technology for remote learning, internet connectivity, school supplies, and provided support to families that needed it. I am so proud to be a parent of the Hoboken Public School District. I hope that you join me in congratulating the staff and administrators. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Perry, and thanks for being a teacher.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Thank you. You as well.
Hello.
Hello, Miss Ellis. How are you?
Hi, everybody. Good evening, City Council. My name is Carrie Ellis. I live in the 5th Ward, and I have 2 children that attend the Wallace School. One is in 2nd grade and one is in 5th grade. This evening, I would like to take less than 2 minutes just to speak about a program in the Hoboken Public School District that I am so very happy with. Move This World is a social and emotional learning program that is being implemented in all of the elementary schools in the Hoboken Public School District. Each day, students are introduced to Move This World vocabulary or emotional building blocks that help them manage their emotions. You may or may not know this, but I am a school social worker, and especially now during the pandemic, our children need to be able to express how they're feeling. Move This World uses emojis and gets kids up and out of their seats and moving. The language is easy and consistent so parents can use it at home with their kids. So it's a seamless transition from school to home and back to school. My family actually uses Move This World Power of Pause videos at home as a way to help us connect with one another during these very trying times. Move This World has given my kids tools to improve their communication skills and has helped them socialize more confidently. And I have seen it in so many other children too. You might be wondering, why would I bring this up at a city council meeting? Well, I just want to say I'm a very proud Hoboken resident. I am a very proud Hoboken Public School District parent, and I just want this city council to know how much this means to me and how wonderful this program is for my family. Thank you, guys. Have a great, healthy, happy, and Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Carrie. You as well. And thank you for your service.
Sure. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hello, Rose.
Yes.
Can you just state your name for the record? And you have 5 minutes.
Oh, where'd I go?
Oh, it's Rose Markle. Can you hear me, Rose?
Yes. Hi, Rosemary Markle. You hear me?
Yep.
Okay. You know what I'm here to speak about would be Resolution A3, the Hoboken Business Alliance.
Yes.
Rosemary Markle.
I think she has her Facebook sound on. She just turn off your Facebook feed, Rose.
I did.
Oh, good. Okay.
Can you
Are you getting feedback?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can
No,
hear
I'm
you
not
okay.
getting any feedback. Okay, I'll make it brief. I listened to everything, and it's wonderful that it's helping the businesses of Hoboken. As you know, I own a mom and pop building in Hoboken, and landlords in this town are suffering now. I have to tell you, I sat on 2 empty apartments for months. The only way I was able to rent them was by dropping my rents by $400 a month. That's $800 a month that I'm losing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, nobody's talking about that. It's like the elephant in the room. You know, I understand this works for the city's businesses and the bars. I'm not a business. I'm not a bar. I really think this needs to be restructured. I went to an appeal process for this Hoboken Business Alliance. That was February, beginning of March. It's now November. I haven't heard a thing. All they did was send me my bill. So I'm assuming it was denied. No one is showing me what I'm going to get out of this, but yet I have to pay for it. Please don't tell me that people are going to walk by my building and say, I want to live here. I cannot compete with the buildings like Greg's building next door to me. I don't have an elevator, laundry, parking, or a gym. You're just making it harder and harder for us. Is that the plan that the city figures we'll just give up, sell, and we build another huge concrete building here? All I'm asking is for you to restructure this and leave the third ward mom and pop landlords alone. There's a lot of empty buildings, a lot of empty apartments. Speak to any realtor. I'm not saying get rid of it, but do something to help us now. I'm losing a lot of money, and yet I got tax increase, regular tax. Now you're saying that this is going up, and to add insult to injury, wasn't there a resolution that says I can't even raise rents during the pandemic? Come on, enough is enough. You know, I think that about covers it. Like I said, you know, don't tell me about beautification. We're just relieving the city of cleaning doing what they should be doing with our regular taxes. I'm getting a separate tax to cover that. Nobody's cleaning my streets. I have to sweep up the leaves from my neighbor's trees, the garbage from my neighbor's houses that blows over here. I'm not getting bushes out in front of my building with flowers or lights. It's all great. It's all on Washington Street. The people that are benefiting from this are the people that should be paying for it. That's all I have to say. Thank you for listening to me. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Rose.
Thanks, Rose.
Bye-bye.
Corporation Counsel? Are you there, Brian?
Yes.
Yes. You know, if someone is delinquent on their taxes at the end of the year. And I believe that the number's more than $10,000, and that includes interest payments too. They're charged an additional 6,000 on 6% on like another fee on top of that, or a fine. I
Okay.
think we should look into a way of removing the 6% if that's something we lawfully can do, because Rose is absolutely right. There's a lot of small mom and pops who are not going to be able to pay their taxes because they cannot get tenants. And I just feel like that additional 6% is just a punch in the face.
Well, depending on the circumstances and how other years have gone and what's happened in the past, there's also the potential that they can enter into an agreement with the city to pay the taxes over a period of up to 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly paid off within 5 years, usually in equal payments. So that's also something that can be looked into for members that meet the qualifications of the statute, I'll call it.
That would be great. And if there's a way, maybe a memo could go out so the people that really need this know that that is an option.
It doesn't have to be a memo. I can simply, my office will reach out to the tax collector's office, and we can reach out to people that,
are in that situation potentially.
No, so it doesn't have to be a memo to the world. It can be to the people with the problem.
That would be great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Or perhaps it could go with the tax bill, because maybe it's not clear who is struggling and who is not if they don't call in and say so.
Yeah. Very good point. Thank you, Mr. Councilman. Mr. Bala, oh, there we go. Good evening, Mr. Bala. You have 5 minutes.
Good evening, members of the City Council. I come before you for 2 reasons. The first reason I'll be more brief on. The first reason has to do with the council's inability or refusal to follow the law and trust the professionals and simply have the Hoboken School District receive the Jackson Street pilot payment so that they can allocate those funds as per state formula enacted by state law and enforced via regulations, both by the state of New Jersey and on the ground by Dr. Johnson on behalf of the Hoboken School District. I just urge you again to please, please, please follow the letter of the law. Believe and trust in the professionals. Do not supersede your own judgment as to what the formula should be for that of our state legislature. The second reason that I'm here before you is there's been so much discussion over the past month about our district public schools. And I just want to come before you as a really proud parent of 2 children who are in Wallace. One child, my oldest son, who has attended all his schooling at Wallace is now is in the Hoboken middle school. I'd like to talk a little bit about the middle school because I believe that there are many parents who are perhaps reticent to send their children there because they don't necessarily believe that the middle school has reached the amazing levels of excellence that our district public schools of Wallace, the Connors, are now achieving. But I just want to say that my eldest son, has had really an amazing experience there. And I really want to focus in on one thing. It's the student development days that the middle school's instituted. Let me tell you a bit about the student development days. They're a full day. They're just focused on the social and emotional development of each one of the students at the Hoboken Middle School. There's no math that day, there's no English that day, there's no social studies, there's no science. It's really focused on developing those skills that any of us who've worked in a professional setting know are critical for one's development. You know, how are you taking care of your mental health? How are you taking care of your physical health? How are you problem solving when there's conflict? How do you end a conversation in a way that is that helps ensure that there's progress? It's those sorts of things that I'm so thrilled that my son in the middle school is getting at a critical time in his development as a young adult. I love him so much. I'm gonna lose him in 7 years to the world is my sense. I mean, obviously he'll always have a home, but he's going to be an adult in 7 years. And that type of intervention that's more than about numbers and written sentences and science, but is really about how do I develop as a human being who can navigate the world smartly and compassionately, is just one of many reasons why I love our Hoboken school district. I give all credit to the moms, mostly. There are some dads, but mostly the moms who are on the Hoboken school board, have skin in the game because their own children are in those schools and are fighting as hard as they can to ensure that their own children are getting the type of public school education that we all want for our kids. So I come here today, in addition to making my first point, which I've now made over 2 meetings, now this is the third, but also to make this last point that folks might not know it, but there really is a revolution happening in our public schools. The perception of them in some quarters is so 93, but we're in 2020, and these parents are fighting their darnest to make our public schools something that we can all be proud of, so that one day we get to the point where the Hoboken High School is a high school that everybody wants to go to around the state. And they're fighting for that goal. So, you know, with that, I hope these comments are useful to the public. I always stand ready to talk to any parent who cares about their child's development and share with them my experience, good and challenging, with the Hoboken Public School District. But I'll say it's really all been really positive. It's a wonderful place to be. Thank you so much and have a great evening.
Thank you. Have a great night. Dan, can you hear us? Dan gets extra time to connect. Dan? You know what? Hello, Miss La Rosa.
Yes, hi. My name is, hello everyone. My name is Heidi de la Rosa, and I am a proud parent of a 9th grade student at Hoboken High School, as well as a Spanish teacher. And tonight I want to take a minute to talk to you about Hoboken High School Classroom Without Walls program. I made some notes. I'm a teacher, so I always do that. So over the past 5 years, Hoboken High School has offered a program to our students called Classroom Without Walls, where our students get to travel to different parts of the world, which provides them with a fantastic cultural and educational opportunity. Wow, that's like make us so happy. I also thought that it would be important to take a moment to talk to you about what everyone might guess. I guess everyone might know that the COVID-19 pandemic has forced all of us into isolation. And that includes isolation, but also into like understanding better the economic divide that exists, right? And as a teacher, I think it's necessary to talk about the isolation that could happen even when we don't have a pandemic, which, our students, some of our students face on a daily basis, right? And that's from the economic divide that exists. In a city like our city, like Hoboken, there is an economic gap, and we certainly see it in the classroom every day, and our students see it as well. However, I'm proud to say, right, as a teacher, as an advisor, as a parent, I am proud to say that, every program, the fact that every program that we offer at Hoboken High School is accessible to all of our students. Like our travel program, we planned it 4 years ahead so that we could work together to offer all of our students the opportunity to participate in all of our programs, right? We make sure that there's not like a single student that cannot participate in an activity because of money. Since 2016, our Hoboken High School Red Wings, which I'm so proud of, have traveled to France, England, Spain, Italy, Japan. Unfortunately, you might know that our trip to Greece was postponed, but we are certain and determined to go to Greece sooner or later. We have our fingers crossed. I don't know if you know this, but we plan to go to Galapagos Island, charting the Galapagos Island, following Darwin's path in the spring of 2021. And, pray for us. We're hoping to make it there. I have been on every one of these trips. And one of the things that is incredible, right, is seeing our students' faces, seeing our students represent, seeing our students how like with so much pride and dignity representing our city and our school. It's incredible. Like we start planning this trip and we start from like helping them get a passport, getting to the point that we go and we go on this trip and it's incredible. I want to take one more minute to talk to you about our last trip. We went to Japan and our superintendent invited our students to office to share the experience. And we always do like reflection after we come back where they talk to us about like their experiences and what they learn and whatnot. And, this time they went over to Dr. Johnson's office and it was incredible for me, like just being there with them and seeing them talk about the trip. Like it makes me so proud. It almost makes me want to cry because they spoke about things that, not that I took for granted, but I wasn't recalling at the moment. And it was incredible, seeing our children. I mean, as a teacher, I have to tell you that I'm jealous because when we go on this trip, like they're so engaged. They embrace every part of the culture. They embrace everything that they see. They it's incredible. One of our students in the last trip, like, and this touched my heart in such a way. He said in the meeting in front of all his classmates, like, he explained that before going to Japan, he never been on a plane or a boat, or he never been to the beach. And he was so happy that on this trip that he worked so hard to go on, he was able to do all of those because, we took a plane to get there. We took a ferry to Hiroshima, and then we were able to go on the beach and reflect on, so many amazing things and the relationship that, where Japan basically the incident that we experienced and where they are now. Honestly, it was incredible. And, the whole point of Classroom Without Walls, of course, is to bring worldwide experiences to our Hoboken students who might not ever have them. without it. And, I'm not saying that just because I'm saying it. I'm saying it because it's a lot of what my students tell me. And beyond just like having the experience, it's something.
I'm sorry, your 5 minutes is up. So if you could wrap it up, that would be much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, we work together with them. We raise money, and probably you've seen some of our flyers so that every student could go. And I'm honored to be a teacher at Hoboken High School, and proud to be a parent, and proud to say that my son is attending a school in our Hoboken School District. So, and I want to thank you all for supporting our school. I'm sure that my students, probably you saw the flyers or try to sell something to one of you, but I thank you because our city always supports our students, and we're very proud of our students. Thank you so much. I'm a little nervous. I've never been to like a city council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, bye-bye.
Good evening, Mrs. Simons. How are you?
Can you hear me? I think you can. Okay. Good evening, Council President and City Council members. My name is Joyce Simons. I am a member of the Hoboken Board of Education. I have 3 children in the Hoboken Public Schools, 1 in Hoboken Middle School, and twins in Wallace Elementary School. This evening, I am here to provide a brief report on behalf of the Hoboken Board of Education, and I thank you in advance for your time and attention. First and foremost, opening school during a pandemic is certainly not an easy task. For the past 3 months, the Hoboken Public Schools offered a choice of remote and full 5 days per week on-site learning to families. We are so grateful to all of our staff and administrators for operating both learning platforms. Over the past few weeks, we have been watching the COVID numbers rise. The district has followed its plan with fidelity, reporting any positive cases to the Department of Health, along with close contacts, and requiring the necessary self-quarantining. Sometimes this has resulted in classrooms that have needed to shift to remote learning. Sometimes this has resulted in grade levels that have needed to shift to remote learning. And sometimes an entire school has had to shift to remote learning. With Thanksgiving on the horizon, the district has announced that all students and teachers will be on remote learning schedule for the entire week after Thanksgiving to minimize exposure that may occur as a result of family gatherings or travel. The district will monitor this decision and determine if it needs to be modified based on local and statewide data. The Board of Education is proud to announce the district's Community Celebration Award given by Project Lead the Way and the district's 2020 Best Community for Music Education Award given by NAM. As we round out our socially distanced fall activities such as sailing, kayaking, hiking, stand-up paddleboarding, and all our fall sports season has come to an end, we will begin moving more heavily into remote activities such as the winter high school drama production of She Kills Monsters, which will air remotely on February 5th, 6th, and 7th. Our Harvard Model Congress students will be preparing for a remote competition. Please don't forget that Hoboken High School's team won 5 international awards of excellence in Spain when they competed last. Our mock trial team will begin preparing for remote competitions. Hoboken High School is the 2020 defending Hudson County champions. Jump on Facebook and Twitter and you will see our band and orchestra students and our choral students from each of our schools practicing and performing mini concerts through Google. Our high school's guidance department has not missed a beat. Even though it has not been able to host on-site instant decision days, it has already hosted over 20 remote college and university instant decision days, numerous admissions chats, virtual tours, and fairs, and has hosted workshops for families on the college search process and financial aid. And we have 14 teams district-wide advancing to the 2020 Regional Digital Steam Tank Competition. It's really great to see. As a Board of Education, we will keep you and the community informed along the way. Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you very much. Have a great night.
Thank you. Good night.
Oh, there we go.
I tried to get you guys on a different computer. Can you see me, Council?
We can hear you.
Okay. Am I loud enough?
A little too loud.
I tried to get you guys on a different.
Oh, you have to, Chris, you need to turn off Facebook.
Am I loud enough?
There we go. You have to, Chris, you need to turn off Facebook.
All right. Okay.
There we go. You have to, Chris, you need to turn off Facebook.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Let's see if we can.
You have 5 minutes, Chris, Mr. Clark.
All right. Excellent. Oops. Okay. Nice to see everybody this evening. A lot of familiar faces. My name is Chris Clark. I live in the 6th Ward. I have 4 kids in the district, 2 of them attending Hoboken Middle School and 2 at Wallace. Tonight, I wanted to take a moment to talk about the Passport to Wellness program. I'm not sure if hopefully people are familiar with it. I know everybody's familiar with Passport to Learning. Passport to Wellness came on the back end of that with the middle school in mind. And I'm so excited and so energized as to what has been happening over the last 18 months. Early last year, a number of parents, we sat down with Dr. Johnson and Dr. Delafave, Director Delafave, and asked if we could add sports and life sports activities to the middle school during after hours. And the idea was that to introduce athletics that they were not getting in town, and also provide a way to develop and maybe a bridge to high school athletics and the inclusion of those sports in the high school curriculum to really get the high schools offering more consistent with what's going on beyond beyond Hoboken. Over the last year plus, kids at the middle school have been competing in rugby, flag football, golf, tennis, like real golf and real tennis, real hitting the ball. Basketball, archery, bowling, wrestling, and fencing. The program has also offered cross country, kickboxing, rock climbing, yoga, CrossFit, and volleyball. As of now, hockey has been a really, really exploding sport by way of a couple of parents in town for boys and girls. I've got all 4 of my kids are playing hockey. Just because it's something to do between November and March and you're not in the house, something physical. I was a student athlete. I'm sure a lot of you guys were student athletes. That word didn't come from out of the blue, right? It's mind and body, very, very important to development. And so last year, the ice hockey program started and kids were getting up. My kids were getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get on the bus at Wallace at 5:30, and they were on the ice by 6 a.m. In Secaucus, and then back ready for school. And I would bring them some donuts, but they were, energized and having an amazing time. Last year, ski trips were added. I can only tell you this: when you go out into some of the suburban hinterlands and you talk about middle school, they are blown away by what is going on there with this Passport to Wellness. And it is a testament to the district and Dr. Johnson, Director Delafave, in terms of how they respond to ideas and how they, really, hit the tape and finish with a great, great product. They just were adding sailing this year, kayaking, stand-up paddleboarding. I think most impressive is the program is fee tiered, so no child is left out of the program because they can't afford it. And as I said earlier, the genesis of it was to develop intrigue, I think, but also to develop kids that you might get a golfer. And when you talk to the AD at the high school, one of the big issues is he doesn't have the personnel. I think that this sort of, if you build it, they will come, is 100% spot on. When you've got kids looking at this 8th grade class coming through right now, looking at where they're going to go to school, and they hear there's an opportunity to actually play tennis or play hockey, they're going to consider that high school. And I think it's great for the community, just because, a lot of the prep schools and parochial schools have heavy recruiting. There's 2 slots, maybe. So I think it's something that the district has done incredibly well. Passport to Wellness is a real fantastic program that includes everybody, whether you want to be introduced to something or develop. Thank you for your time, and have a great evening.
Thank you for your time. Good night. Good evening, Ms. Evans.
Thank you. Thanks. So, hello, everyone. My name is Jennifer Evans, and I live in the 5th Ward. I'm also the parent of 2 children who attend the Hoboken Public School District. I have an 8th grader at Hoboken Middle School and a 5th grader at Wallace Elementary School. I'm calling tonight to talk about the district's music program. So in addition to being a proud district parent, I'm also the proud parent of 2 Hoboken Public School musicians. My children have thrived in the music program. They've participated in chorus, band, marching band, and also many of the events that I'm going to talk about now. To give you a little background, the music program in the district includes chorus, orchestra, band, and marching band. The program is designed to meet the needs of beginners, intermediate, and advanced musicians, and it is also open to all students. There are no barriers to participate. In addition to growing as violinists, instrumentalists, choralists, and percussionists, our district musicians entertain crowds at athletic events, concerts, parades, and while not this year, hopefully next year, tree lighting ceremonies. Our talented students perform also at special events like Montclair State University's Chamber Day, concert band festivals, statewide band competitions, and the American Young Voices program. The Rockin' Red Wings Marching Band has marched in the Memorial Day Parade in Washington, D.C. as well. During the pandemic, our dedicated students and music staff have not stopped. Instead, you can find them practicing remotely in small or large group ensembles. When I called in to this meeting 2 weeks ago, I talked about being proud of the many amazing district programs. And music education is one of these programs, and it just continues to get better every day. To wrap up and give you a final indication of just how wonderful this program is, I'm very happy to announce that the Hoboken Public School District was recently named a 2020 Best Community for Music Education by the National Association of Music Merchants. Thank you for your time tonight, and have a great night.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. Have a great evening.
Thanks.
April, it looks like you're trying to connect to audio. I'm not sure if you can hear me. I'm just going to let the next speaker in. Good evening, Mr. Impastato.
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me?
Perfectly.
Okay. Good evening, Council. Thank you, Council President. My name is Andrew Impastato. I usually speak at this forum for parking as the parking dude, and even though the frustration is through the roof for thousands of residents that park tonight, I'm going to speak on another topic because it's a priority. But first, I just wanted to, it's very interesting to listen the last 3 meetings to all these parents of the Board of Ed. It sounds, I don't know firsthand because my kids are very young, but it sounds like we have the best public school district in the nation. And I wish you guys would have money to fight over every year so that our parents can speak so passionately about all the programs and give someone like myself a great update on everything that's being offered. It seems like a very simple way to solve this whole thing is all the kids are public school kids if they don't go to private school. And there's a percentage that goes to public and a percentage that go to charter. Why can't we just split the money up accordingly based on those percentages? But that's well above my head. Tonight, I am also a Hoboken Housing Authority Board Commissioner, and I felt the need to speak on behalf of the residents of the Hoboken Housing Authority tonight. We heard tonight, we've seen actually, like as of late yesterday, this amazing community that we live in. There was a missing dog, Milo, and the way this community gathered together and grouped together through hashtags and postings and city officials to find that dog was unbelievable. It was truly magnificent to watch. And we have guys like Greg Delaquila talk about how people stay in Hoboken because of the sense of community, of what this city is all about. Our own mayor has made this community a welcoming sanctuary city. But when we look at what the residents of the Hoboken Housing Authority, who are in our community that we all speak and love, are experiencing on a day-to-day of their lives is appalling to me, and quite frankly, embarrassing. And I don't expect many people to understand what I'm talking about. And if you have the opportunity, you should walk back west of Jackson Street between 3rd and 7th and kind of take it all in, because it has nothing to do with the people that live in the housing authority. It has everything to do with the resources and money and time and attention that is being given to that area of town. Our residents are living in mold. Our residents live without air conditions in the summer, without heat during the winter. We have roaches. We have mice. We have bed bugs. This is real stuff. This is real stuff that's going on right now. I get emails every single day. And I listen to these people talk about how great this community is, especially during a time in this country where Black Lives Matter, and it's screamed from the rooftops, and our mayor leads protests. But really, how much do they matter? 95% of the Black lives that live in Hoboken live in the Hoboken Housing Authority in that disgusting environment. And it's no fault to the director. It is no fault to the residents. We don't have the money. And I see that in Hoboken, because of our great community, we have a 1% art tax. For all future bonding that's going on in Hoboken, 1% is dedicated to art. And we see, as of late tonight, we see a Hoboken Business Alliance that is a local tax for our businesses that go to different opportunities to get people here. But what I ask for is, why don't we get more attention and financial dollars and start putting the money where our mouths are, where Black Lives Matter, and let's start dedicating some money to fixing the units of the Hoboken Housing Authority. That's my challenge to all of you, is find a way. I'm tired and frustrated. I've only been in 2 years, and I hate to speak on the behalf of the residents because I don't know what it's like to live there. I have no idea. I have a clean building. I don't need to walk up. I don't have my kids walking over urine every day. And to hear that coming from the residents, I don't know what it's about, but I know it needs more attention. It needs more attention from this administration. It needs more attention from this council. And I'm telling you, this local community that we all love to praise, we all need to give more attention and resources and capital and time and listening to the Hoboken Housing Authority. You can find me on the website. You want to shoot me an email, you want to give me a call, I'm more than happy to talk to you and expose to you and share with you what our wonderful residents are experiencing every single day. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time and your service. Have a good night, Andrew.
You too.
District 5, can you there you go.
My name's Bob Forniatis. I'm just I'm with Wonderlofts Owners LLC. I was just wanted to observe the meeting. That's all. I'm not here to speak or say anything right now.
Excellent. You can watch the meeting on Facebook or Rod. If you go to the city website, there's a link to click, or YouTube.
Or YouTube? Okay. All right. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you. You too.
We have no other members of the public signed up to speak. Motion to close public portion.
Motion.
Second. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Second readings.
We have hearing on an ordinance amending chapter 196 zoning of the municipal code of the city of Hoboken, affecting corner lots in R2 and R3 zones.
Mr. Doyle or Mr. DeFusco, Councilman DeFusco or Councilman Doyle, sorry.
I guess I'll start if Councilman DeFusco is okay with that.
Of course.
Yeah. This is the corner lot ordinance, and the planning board reviewed it initially and had some recommendations, and some changes were made in response to those recommendations, and it came back last meeting for another shot, and the planning board looked at that, and there was a planning board resolution that made two recommendations. One was a question of ambiguity in the language of the ordinance, which referred to a lot coverage as 60% lot coverage may be allowed, which the planning board felt was, it should be shall, thou shall not exceed. But when I went back to and looked at that, it seems I'm not entirely clear whether the same versions that the planning board looked at were what was on the agenda, to be perfectly frank, because the language in question reads, the remainder of the building may cover 60% of the lot depth. But in the version that we have, the next sentence says all floors above the ground floor shall have a maximum of 60%. So it's kind of I'm honestly not sure that that's what the planning board saw, because the planning board only saw, I believe, saw the may portion and said you should make it shall. And so, but to Council President, to your point, I mean, I think because of this extra sentence, I don't know where it came from, it does kind of cure the may and shall issue. But since, as you pointed out, that there were members of the public who were told that this was not going to be voted on, I think we might as well take the opportunity to follow the planning board's recommendation and just change that may to the up to but shall not exceed 60%. If we agree to that one change tonight, it will be up for at the next meeting, and it can be voted on, at a hearing at the next meeting, and it'll be done. So I think that, and then just strike the last sentence, especially since there may be ambiguity as to when that sentence was introduced, and if it was in fact the version that the planning board looked at or that we voted on at the last meeting. So, what I'm suggesting is the remainder of the building and change may cover to shall be up to but not exceed, and then pick up with the language 60%, and then strike the last sentence of both 196-15E4 and 196-16E4. It's identical language for R2 and R3.
Councilman DeFusco, are you fine with that?
Perfectly fine.
So we'll vote on it as amended, and then we will have second reading and the public hearing at the next council meeting.
Thank you, Council President.
Council President.
Thank you very much. Yes.
The planning board also made, one of their comments was that the city council should consider whether or not this ordinance is potentially going to incentivize developers to tear buildings down and rebuild. And do we talk about that at the second reading, or do we talk about that now because it relates less, I think, maybe a little bit relating to lot coverage, but more to do with the increase in effective stories of the property that is now allowed on the corners? So do we talk about that now, or do we talk about it?
I think there's going to be a larger conversation coming up about how we're going to be able to establish necessary affordable housing in the R2 and the R3 zones with increased densities. This is a very, very small ordinance that's going to be impacting a very limited number of lots. I'd be happy to begin the debate now, but I'm also okay waiting. Businesses are dying. You just heard the CID talk about how businesses were begging them for help. It is long overdue for this city council to take action on outdated zoning. And all this ordinance is attempting to do is follow the 2018 master plan and incentivize ground floor retail on corners and still carry through with the 4 allowable stories of residential. We can fearmonger, we can pull the boogeyman out of the closet and talk about how people are going to get kicked out of their homes, but in reality, this is trying to continue Hoboken's history as a destination where people can walk out of their homes, buy toilet paper, buy soap, and walk home. That's it. Well, happy to debate it.
I don't disagree what it does for a property owner and the potential to incentivize putting businesses on corners. But I think right now, this R2 and R3 allow for corner retail already. And when you add a floor, you're effectively increasing the economics by 25% and 20 to 25%. And anyone, if given that opportunity to increase their economics on an older building, would be incentivized to tear it down. So the question is, have we looked at who's living in these corner properties? Because I think, displacement is an issue for Hoboken. R2 and R3 are where we do see more of the rent-controlled older units. So I think if we're, Councilman Doyle and Council President Giattino last year sponsored a change to our zoning in R1 to undo what had been a provision that had suddenly incentivized tear downs of properties in R1. So the question is, we're basically taking that provision out of R1 that we just undid, and we're now putting it in R2 and R3 on the corners. And are we okay with that? And now this council may be okay with that, but we also, as a council, all voted to remove it out of R1 just a year ago because of the tear downs that ended up happening.
You're debating apples and oranges. The
apples and oranges.
mid-block historic buildings are very different than in planning. Yes.
I think what we should do is just have a subcommittee meeting. We vote on this as amended, have a subcommittee meeting in between now and the next.
Sure, we've had a subcommittee meeting. The planning board has opined on this twice. Happy to talk about it again, but I think it's time for a robust debate on this. So let's move it forward.
Council President, and I don't know whether Councilwoman Fisher, I think it's worth mentioning that, and I am not a fan of this, but just to be, fully transparent, right now in R2 and R3, the number of floors that is allowed here is 4 stories above DFE. So we're not increasing 25%. This is what I get that we are, if this were to pass, we're giving them 40% more lot coverage on the first floor, but it does not change the height of the building. And
it does actually, because we're giving 5 stories. Right now it's 40 feet over DFE, right?
That's what's allowed today in R2 and R3.
Right,
but the DFE and the R2 and the R3, Tiffany, are sometimes up to 10 feet, which is tantamount to a story. So the flood ordinance is already doing that, and then there's already the protections of the demolition ordinance. So you're arguing these worst case scenarios that barely exist, but let's just call a vote and we'll debate this next meeting.
I think that's fine. I'm just saying that the reason why I raised this originally is the planning board asked us to debate this very specific issue we've addressed as a council as it related to a zoning change in R1. So I just think displacement of people in Hoboken is worth looking at. I mean, we should look at the corners. How many of these buildings are filled with, moderate to low income people living in rent controlled units? Like, are we concerned that those are going to be torn down and rebuilt as a brand new building?
The planning board has also recommended an upzoning of the new R2 and the R3 zones of nearly 5 stories. So the planning board can't say in a master plan, this is what we recommend, and then through some resolution, which didn't even reference the ordinance that we passed, that we should look more into this. This is fear mongering. If you don't agree with the policy, vote no. But let's not pretend that we're trying to intentionally displace people here, because that's what's wrong with politics, and that's what's wrong with this city, is that we're unwilling to take positive planning steps to help small businesses. Anyway, I'm done with it.
What's wrong with the city is what's wrong with the city is we make very quick decisions without looking at the specific impact to its population and doing enough due diligence and research. That's what's wrong with our policies. So that this is an example of that. I'm not saying that we shouldn't necessarily do it, but why wouldn't it be worth understanding what and who this is going to impact in our community and rushing forward to make this change? Such a broad sweeping change.
Councilman, due respect, when I was on the planning board in 2018, I have not been rushing towards it. It's now 2021, and this is 3 years later. So I don't think that you're respecting the process or any of the other minds besides your own thoughts in regards to what's gone behind this policy. So you're welcome to come to my subcommittee meeting, but you are not welcome to have your own thoughts based on hard work of many other community representatives that's gone into this.
I'm not welcome to have my own thoughts. Really? Is that what you just said? I don't think you wanted to say that.
You are welcome.
Am I still on mute?
No.
No, you're good now.
Call the vote as amended.
Mr. Cohn?
Aye.
Fusco?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
No.
Mrs. Falco? Mrs.
Yes.
Falco? Ms. Fisher,
No.
Mrs. Jabour,
No.
Mr. Ramos,
That was
Mr. Ra-
again.
Mr. Ramos,
Aye.
Mr. Russo,
Aye.
President Giantino.
Yes, as amended.
A hearing on an ordinance amending Chapter 196 zoning, Section 196-27.3, building facades of the municipal code of the city of Hoboken.
We have no members of the public signed up to speak. Motion to close public portion.
Motion.
Motion. All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Council member?
Council President, I believe Councilman DeFusco was going to carry this, but am I mistaken on that, Councilman DeFusco?
You
This
are
is the facade one.
This is the facade one. Yeah, you are correct, Councilman. The subcommittee, as background, discussed this. We assembled a group of architects to discuss a discrepancy in the facade ordinance that we all agree on. We were hoping to have that updated for first reading tonight. I'm not sure if Director Brown's on to just give me and the subcommittee an update on what's going on with that.
Hey, Council President. Yeah, our zoning officer, I believe, maybe today provided a draft for review, but I'm not sure that the subcommittee has gotten a chance to look through. So I think that we can carry the item and hopefully introduce on first reading on December 2nd.
Yeah, that's great, Director. And we want to fix the discrepancy in the code, and then there's going to be a larger kind of revision to the facade ordinance that comes out in 2021, which we have to just talk about a little.
Yeah,
bit
that's correct. I mean, so the current facade ordinance that's available online and that all the council people are looking at is a little more comprehensive. We're going to pare it down for first reading and have it address a specific discrepancy. And as Councilman DeFusco stated, we'll introduce something a little more comprehensive after discussing.
So, just to be clear, Council President, Director Brown, we're looking to have at our next council meeting on first reading the slimmed down revision to the facade ordinance to address the one mistaken number. I believe that the subcommittee wants to fix, I think it was a 45.
45 to 25.
45 to 25. And then the larger revisions will follow in a later meeting.
Yeah, I think that the idea is, I mean, not to go into too much detail on the history, but the 45 and 25 discrepancy was pointed out, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. And that's been something that we've been looking to have amended year after year from our annual reports. So based on the conversation that we had as a subcommittee the other day, the architects had some points, the council people have some points on how the ordinance, I'll say that the more comprehensive aspects of the ordinance can be improved on. So I think that we're just going to have a little bit more conversation. I'm not going to put a timetable to when that comprehensive facade ordinance will be introduced, but I just think it's worth having a little more conversation on.
Thanks, Director.
Sure.
Ordinance number
4.
No, 2 is being carried.
Number 4.
3 is carried. We're up to ordinance number 4.
Right. Ordinance amending Chapter 190-31 entitled Closing School Streets, Parking in School Zones to amend school zones at the Boys and Girls Club building on Jefferson Street.
We have no members of the public signed up to speak. Motion to close public portion.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Council members? Mr. Farina, please call the vote.
Mr. Cohen?
Aye.
Fusco?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Aye.
Mr. Falco?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher? Ms.
Yes.
Fisher?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Mrs. Jabour?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Aye.
Mr. Russo?
Aye.
President Giantino.
Yes.
Hearing on an ordinance establishing parking rates for the city-owned parking garages on Small Business Saturday.
No members of the public signed up to speak. Motion to close public portion.
Motion.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
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 Members? I do request if this passes that a Nixle alert goes out about it, just so people know about it and actually share it with the Hoboken Business Alliance.
Yeah, Council President, I've shared it with the Hoboken Business Alliance already, and we had a subcommittee meeting today and talked about how we want the administration actually to designate every Saturday from now through the end of the year as Small Business Saturday. So I think the way the ordinance is written, it applies to this Small Business Saturday as well as any other one that is designated. So we'll hope that the mayor does that, and and also, sorry, I'm realizing in new business, what we didn't do in order to meet the timing for next Saturday is we need to do a emergency resolution to make this effective immediately or effective before Saturday.
Remove the estoppel period.
Yes, remove the estoppel period. And also, like I said, we'll hope that the administration, by the time they send a Nixle out, they'll announce every Saturday as a Small Business Saturday between now and the end of the year.
Great. Thank you, Councilwoman. Mr. Farina, call the vote.
Mr. Cohen,
Aye.
DeFusco,
Yes.
Mr. Doyle,
Aye.
Mrs. Falco,
Yes.
Ms. Fisher,
Yes.
Mrs. Jabour,
Yes.
Mr. Ramos,
Aye.
Mr. Russo,
Aye.
President Giantino.
Yes.
Hearing on an ordinance, bond ordinance, authorizing the acquisition of various capital equipment and completion of various capital improvements in and for the city of Hoboken, County of Hudson, New Jersey, appropriating the sum of $1,616,000, therefore authorizing the issuance of general obligation bond or bond anticipation notes of the city of Hoboken, County of Hudson, New Jersey, and the aggregate principal amount of up to $1,535,200, making certain determinations and covenants and authorizing certain related actions in connection with the foregoing.
We have no members of the public signed up to speak. Motion to close public portion.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Council members?
Council President, just, I think where we left off, didn't we have two ordinances? We had this one, and then we created the second one that was separate.
We did.
This is the only one that seems to be on, or actually, were we introducing the second one? Is Caleb
I
on?
think we changed it on the fly.
We changed it on the fly, so this number reflects the changed number on the fly?
Correct.
But then didn't you break out the other one?
No, we did not. We're not including that in a separate bond. So all that is in this bond is the fire truck and police SUVs.
So what are we doing with the safety equipment that we said we were gonna bond for separately and make sure we had the ability to pay for it before the end of the year?
We're trying to scrounge up the funds to include that in it from our emergency trust to get that reimbursed from the CARES Act.
But we don't need to have an appropriation for it?
I defer.
I thought that was the whole reason why it was gonna be in a bond, because it was the only way to actually get like the line item or something for it.
You have to be able to guarantee the funds.
Excuse me, yes, the appropriation can be made out of the trust fund.
Okay.
Which is what we're going to do.
Okay, great.
We didn't want to do that originally because we were concerned we wouldn't get the funds back in time. But we have now decided to do it that way.
The council president?
Yes, Councilman.
I mean, I'm looking at Acela, and it's got the city buildings and improvements on the Acela, and the amount is 1.803 or 1.898 million. But somewhere the corrected version that we're voting on is
1.616.
right.
That's what the title is in Excella.
Right, but look at page 77.
I'm just looking at the one that's online.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I'm looking at that too.
The page 7 of the packet, 77, excuse me. it breaks out twice in the ordinance itself, the purposes / improvement. And there's A through E, and at the bottom, it adds up to 1.89 million, and the title adds up to 1.61 million.
The one that is, if you were on Acela, like online, and actually clicked the title, the bond ordinance, it opens up and the full text has the 1616 and the 1535 as totals as well.
Fine, as long as it's
consistent.
I'll take your word for it as long as it happens.
And actually, the PDF that is that says print out the one online. So if you look online, the title, if you click it, comes to the right total. Right below it, where it says CC-ordinance printout, if you click that, it brings down to the 1616 and the 1535 as well. So I'm not sure what you're seeing.
I've had it open since 4 o'clock today, so I think they may have updated it and corrected it, and I didn't bother logging out and logging back in. So, okay. Thank you. I just want to make sure that we're voting on the right thing.
Much appreciated. Mr. Farina?
Council President?
Mr. Cohen?
Sorry, 1 second. Councilman DeFusco?
Thank you. Thank you very much. At the last meeting, I had asked the administration for an estimate of when we might be able to see a draft 2021 budget. We're nearing the last couple weeks of 2020. And I find it discouraging, to say the least, that we entered into this year with the same conversation and it resulted in a near 10% tax increase. Now we're going ahead and being asked to bond more money. Now, this is for good things, right? We want the police to have SUVs, and we want the fire department to have newer trucks. But, I think it would be real irresponsible for anyone to vote on this tonight without seeing a 2021 budget. I have a resolution up that basically memorializes the last year in our city's finances. This council's job is, as a gatekeeper, to hold the city's purse strings in a way that's responsible. I don't want to hear anybody then, if they vote for this, then coming around and complaining that the finances aren't where they should. Is the first act, I would say, in being responsible stewards of our budget. These are things that can wait until the administration begins to productively work with this council to introduce a 2021 budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Mr. Farina, please call the vote.
Mr. Cohen?
Aye.
DeFusco?
No.
Mr. Doyle?
Aye.
Mrs. Falco?
No.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Mrs. Jabour?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
No. No.
Mr. Russo?
No.
President Giantino?
Yes.
Now, I just have one question for the Corporation Council. Linda, does this need 6 votes because it's a bond ordinance?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So the ordinance fails then. Miscellaneous licenses? Mr. Cohen?
Aye.
DeFusco?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Aye.
Mrs. Falco?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Mrs. Jabour?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Aye.
Mr. Russo?
Aye. President
Giantino?
Yes.
Report from the tax collector, Sharon Curran, for taxes collected for the month of October 2020, $23,085,589.33. Abatement total $218,361.93. Report from the municipal court indicating receipts collected for October 2020 as $275,704.56. Claims $1,792,743.78.
Council members on claims?
I have one question. I asked the last time when I looked at COVID expenses, was this the last time that Carson Food Service was going to receive a payment? And I was told yes, and they're on here again.
I believe, Councilman, the last time it was on there was to approve the payment. this shows that it was paid.
I think it was on here. It was on the spreadsheet. So that means that it was paid out, not approved.
I will.
Claims. It was a claim that she asked about, not a contract.
I will go
Right.
back and look, but I will, my understanding from Director Pellegrini is that this is the last one.
But that's what Director Pellegrini said a couple of months ago.
Again, I can go back and discuss that with him, but my understanding is this is the last allocation to them.
And in the event that we will have to provide meals again to seniors, is Director Pellegrini researching any other options for meals? Was this the best option? Was this the most affordable option? Is he in fact doing any of that research currently?
Yes, I believe he is, and I think that there's been a number of steps that we have taken internally to determine how to scale up on testing, if we need to work with the food pantry, how we're going to operate that in the winter, how we're going to be able to disperse food to seniors if needed, and I can report back, Councilman, on what research Director Pellegrini has done related to that, but I know he is working on that.
Director, if I could ask, I know we've had a member of the public come before us many times at this point, asking us about trying to coordinate a full list of seniors throughout the city. Is that underway? Are we taking any steps to complete that other than the housing authority and private senior buildings and those bigger buildings that we're aware of? Are we looking to increase that list more on a proactive level rather than a reactive level at this point?
Yes, that is being undertaken through a number of offices, including, I guess, what was formerly the Office of Constituent Affairs. We kind of had to divvy that up based on that office being disbanded. So that work is being done, and I think it might actually be beneficial for once we feel like it's completed on our end to share that with the City Council to see if there are any blanks to be filled in. I'm sure, especially for the ward council members, being able to know certain areas that maybe are not as well known by the administration, we can have those blanks filled in.
That's awesome. Thanks, Director.
Yep.
Thank you, Councilman. Mr. Farina?
On the claims, Mr. Cohen,
Aye.
DeFusco,
Yes.
Mr. Doyle,
Aye.
Mrs. Falco,
Yes.
Ms. Fisher,
Yes.
Mrs. Jabour,
Yes.
Mr. Ramos,
Aye.
Mr. Russo,
No.
President Giantino.
Yes.
Payrolls, total for this, payroll report for 1/4/2020, payroll $1,687,422.26. Overtime $63,930.70. Other pay $276,850.96 for a total of $2,028,203.91.
Council members on board?
Council President?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I don't have the breakdown of the payroll in front of me. What's the other pay, the $276,000?
Oh, across the board, it accumulates in a number of things. It's COVID-related overtime. There's some terminal leave for retired employees, but a large chunk of it is the COVID overtime and the outside employment for the police department.
Is that being allocated properly, even though it's COVID related overtime? Shouldn't that be specific in our overtime lines in our pay structure?
I believe the way that we are calculating it makes it the easiest to basically designate to the county that this is specifically for COVID, so that it's reimbursable under the CARES Act.
And again, I don't care if that's how we're doing it just to keep it separate, but from a budgetary perspective, let's just make sure it's going to the right place, because who wants to deal with that, right?
Understood.
So just to point it out, no big deal.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
Thank you. Payroll?
Mr. Cohen,
Aye.
Fusco,
Yes.
Mr. Doyle,
Aye.
Mrs. Falco,
Yes.
Ms. Fisher,
Yes.
Mrs. Jabour,
Yes.
Mr. Ramos. Mr. Ramos,
Aye.
Mr. Russo,
Aye.
President Giantino.
Yes.
Resolutions,
Council members, on resolutions, I am pulling A1. That's it? Rest on consent?
A3 just for a vote, Council President.
One, sorry, Councilman. Councilman Russo, which one did you say?
A3 just for the vote.
Other council members? Mr. Freeman, please call the vote on everything except A1 and A3.
Council President, I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Cohn,
Wait, 1 second.
Can I just confirm, you said at the beginning of the meeting, CD6 is carried, is that right? Was there anything else that was removed, just to confirm that?
Moved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure, thank you.
Was T3 removed as well?
There's no T3 on the updated agenda.
Oh, that's
There's,
fine. Okay.
but there are two, I'm sorry, there's two TX2s, but I guess,
It should be TX2 and TX3.
Mr. Cohn,
Yes and no on CL2.
CL2. DeFusco,
Yes, except no on T2.
Mr. Doyle,
yes, except no on CL2.
Mrs. Falco,
Oh, God. Yes.
Ms. Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Jabour,
Yes on everything but CL2.
Mr. Ramos,
Aye.
Mr. Russo,
Aye.
President Giantino.
Yes.
Okay. A1,
A1, resolution amending a contract with Ingenuity Infrastructure LLC Engineering Design and Inspection Services for the 2019 paving improvement project in the amount of $33,000. Maybe Director Freeman, I know you had told me this was for the repaving of 7th Street.
Sure. Or Caleb can go over specifically. There was a in the process of the work, there was a tank, Caleb, that's correct, that was found, or some sort of vault that was found underground.
Vault.
Yeah, needed to be handled. So this would be the contract.
The vault was at 9th and Grand, though. The repaving is at 7th.
Correct. And the 7th was the water main break.
The two different conflicts that the contractor experienced, I guess the first one was covered in a first change order, the second one being covered in this change order. And it's an extension of our contract manager being able to provide construction management services through the end of that contract. So this will be funded through NJDOT funds, but we require construction management of the design engineer to oversee the contractor. So that's why this is part of the project, and then the transportation that was just approved on consent is the actual work that's being done.
So this has nothing to do with the repaving of 7th Street?
Yes, it does. That will be covered as part of this.
So my question is, why wouldn't the contractor be responsible for that?
Because the contractor's work is certified by our construction manager. And so they have people out in the field during that same period of time. So if we approve the contractor to work for longer and they have more scope of work, we're also proposing that our construction manager's scope of work match and extend with that contract extension.
So the contract is paying for the actual repaving, or they're not?
So this was part of a memo, and I had sent this earlier, but I'll just read this is directly from Kim Kraft.
Mm-hmm.
The previous contract modification for Ingenuity covered the period up to the end of Vector's current contract. There will be additional inspection and administration costs associated with extending Vector's contract by 27 days at an estimated additional cost of $33,000. It is anticipated that the additional construction inspection costs will be recovered from Vector Corp through penalties for exceeding the initial contract term. The total amount to be assessed will be determined upon completion of construction. So we also, if we are extending the work for our contractor, we must also extend the work for our construction manager.
Okay. So you're thinking you're getting the money back from the contractor at the end of it?
Correct. We don't know that we will, but we will pursue that as a course of action. We have to pay our construction manager and amend the contract.
And then another issue with this is, so this work was already completed.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we now approving this?
Right.
I am not sure that all the work has been completed for this contract to close out this contract.
Right, but 7th Street I know was completed on Saturday, and the money for 7th Street is in here now to pay for the repaving.
Correct.
So how can we be voting on something
Where the work was already done?
When the work had already been completed?
We at any time we close out a project or amend a contract with our construction manager, we have to amend their contract to actually issue them a payment.
No, I understand that, but you are supposed to do that before they do the work.
In
But if
certain
we vote no,
in
they
certain
just not get paid.
circumstances, it's impossible for us to do that. And if we, in emergencies, specifically this one, if we've chosen,
That was not an emergency.
Do our contracts have contingencies in them usually?
many of them do, yes.
And this one just
But that was, I completely understand if there's an emergency, but there was a water main break, and then the decision was after the patch job to have it repaved. So it could have waited. I'm not in a private sector world. Yes, do that. Just have it done. But this isn't the private sector. I'm just not understanding how. I mean, does this happen often, more often than we realize?
To my knowledge, this is the first time that we've been before the council this year asking for a contract extension for work that was completed within a week. And but for approving a contract or amending our contract with our contractors, then we would not complete scopes of work that change based on field conditions. I don't have anything more to add.
we do it for legal work all the time. I'm not sure it's right, but we have often had those conversations where we're approving increases to a contract for dollars that have already been spent.
There should be some penalty to the city for that.
I agree.
There should be a big no vote is what there should be
Yep.
I agree.
Next year.
right now.
All right, Mr. Farina, call the vote. Yes, on A1.
Mr. Cohen?
Aye.
Mr. Cohen?
Aye.
Mr. Fusco?
No.
Mr. Doyle?
Aye.
Mrs. Falco?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Mrs. Jabour?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
No.
Mr. Russo?
No.
President Giantino?
No.
Okay. 5-4, approved. I think the next one is A3.
Resolution A3, resolution introducing the Hoboken Business Alliance fiscal year 2021 budget for the $1,373,528.09 and establishing a 28-day public notice and comment period with the public hearing to be held on December 16th, 2020. Mr. Farina, call the vote.
Mr. Cohen?
Aye.
Fusco?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Aye.
Mrs. Falco?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Mrs. Jabour?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Aye.
Mr. Russo?
No.
President Giantino?
Yes.
All right, just Councilman DeFusco, what was your vote again? I'm sorry.
I was a yes on that.
Okay. Thank you. I had to correct that.
Just really quickly, Corporation Counsel, can you put forward, get a resolution ready for new business? Maybe you already have for the estoppel period?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Ordinance,
Yes. Ordinance for introduction, amending the Hoboken Business Alliance 2021 budget re-referencing with chapter 170, excuse me, chapter 179 Special Improvement District of the City of Hoboken.
Council President, just one quick second. This, assuming or hopefully it passes on first reading, if it does pass on first reading, we're going to carry it through the next meeting and hear it on the 16th along with the budget hearing. So we're just doing everything SID related at that meeting. Okay.
Thank
I
you.
just want people to know. Yep.
Mr. Cohen,
Aye.
Mr. Fusco,
Yes.
Mr. Doyle,
Aye.
Mrs. Falco,
Yes.
Ms. Fisher,
Yes.
Mrs. Jabour,
Yes.
Mr. Ramos,
Aye.
Mr. Russo,
No.
President Giantino.
yes.
New business, resolution under new business. Resolution granting the Wonder Loft owner LLC request to extend the permitted construction hours outlined in the Hoboken City Code.
Councilman Russo, I just want to make sure you're fine with this.
Yeah, I definitely am. And one of my bigger concerns was that there was going to be a lot of loud construction, and I've been assured that that's not the case. A lot of it's going to be internal, so it's not going to really disturb neighbors. So I'm okay with it.
Thank you. And other council members? Mr.
New
Green?
business?
No, CL3.
Mr. Cohen,
Aye.
Mr. Fusco,
Yes.
Mr. Doyle,
Aye.
Mrs. Falco,
Yes.
Ms. Fisher,
Yes.
Mrs. Jabour,
I abstain.
Mr. Ramos,
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Russo,
Aye.
President Giantino.
Yes.
Waiving the estoppel period for small business Saturdays, ordinance B-313.
Mr. Farina, please call the vote.
And that one would be CL4. Mr. Cohen,
Aye.
Fusco,
Yes.
Mr. Doyle,
Aye.
Mrs. Falco,
Yes.
Ms. Fisher,
Yes.
Mrs. Jabour,
Yes.
Mr. Ramos. Mr. Ramos,
Aye.
Mr. Russo,
Aye.
President Giantino. Any other new business?
Motion to close?
No.
No, I have a new business.
Vanessa.
Today.
My hand's up again, Council.
Oh, everyone, 50th birthday to Vanessa.
Oh, thank you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Vanessa.
Today on our Affordable Housing Committee meeting, we tentatively scheduled a date for a community meeting for the 11th and Willow Affordable Housing Senior Project. We will confirm that date at the next meeting, which will be December 2nd, but tentatively it's scheduled for December 9th at 7 p.m. and we will distribute the Zoom link so that residents can join.
It is official, I believe, Vanessa. Chris asked me to set up like 5 minutes ago, a Zoom.
Okay. All right, perfect. But we'll announce it again on the 2nd.
It's, I can't find the time now. I think it's 6:30, but December 9th is definitely the one.
Yes, 7 p.m.
Okay, great. Other council members? Yes, Councilman Ramos with the hand up.
Yeah, just very, very briefly, just an update on the Zakalama property. And then we won the court date September 9th. 60 days, they said the building could be torn down after 60 days. We've passed the 60-day period now. So are we going to have demolition of that property taking place sooner rather than later? Or is it, are they appealed? We having litigation once again?
I will get back to you on that tomorrow. The short order of the update is The engineer was working with the property owner, and they actually agreed in lieu of appealing, for lack of a better word, to knock it down. So I'll see where that process is. They were actually using the same engineer that the city had, or same engineer, I'm sorry, the same demolition company that the city had contracted to knock it down. So I'm not sure why or what the date is, what the holdup is. But last I checked, they were in the process of getting the permits from the city, and that was the only thing holding up the demolition. So
Thank you.
and if they were,
Thank you.
I'll let you know.
Thank you. 2 more points, or 3 more points. Sorry. Marshall Street. Who's the chair of the transportation committee now? Actually, is it Councilman Fisher? Councilman Fisher.
Yep.
Had a conversation with Director Sharp. Residents in the neighborhood would like to explore once again making a Marshall Street when you're exiting town behind the Sky Club. If it could be one way going southbound with the left lane allowing for left-hand turns and the right lane allowing for right-hand turns exiting the city of Hoboken. That light gets delayed quite often right now. And if you're going down that street, going northbound, you're pretty much only going to the light rail station. So this would just make people go around the block a little bit longer going towards the light rail station. So I'd like to discuss that in committee.
Yep.
What suggested. So if I could be invited to that committee meeting, I'd appreciate that.
Councilman, is it part of the Southwest study at all?
John Jarr made some recommendations with it, and in another committee meeting, we had a small conversation about that, but Director Sharp wasn't there.
Okay.
And John Jarr said it was possible to try and do that, and like to explore a little bit more with the data he already had compiled in the past, if that's possible. And then there's bump outs on First and Harrison, and they're unsightly, and they've been unsightly for about 2 years now since they've been installed. It's no garden there, no beauty there. It's just weeds growing out of that. So either we could remove them altogether, get rid of the unsightliness, or beautify it.
Councilman, what was the location on that again? I'm sorry.
First and Harrison.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. And lastly, received word today that retired fire captain Mike Taglieri passed away today. Coach in Hoboken for many years as well. My former baseball coach when I was younger. Big part of the community. Former Young Dem. I lived on First and Madison Street, and Jimmy would know that the Young Dems had their headquarters on the corner of 6th and Madison.
Right.
So I was a frequenter in the Young Dems headquarters when I was a toddler. And all these guys always had a good time welcoming me, and Mike Taglieri was a big part of that. So may he rest in peace to him and his family. Thank you.
Thanks, Rube.
Councilwoman Fisher?
Yeah, just a quick question for Director Freeman. The nixle that went out today that talked about the additional personal information requirements that a number of the business types in our community are going to have to record. I had a couple people ask me, actually express concern, like what's going to be done with that information, who's getting the information. One of my neighbors communicated it directly to the mayor. I was on that. We went back and forth, but maybe you can provide a little of that color to the public, given that people have expressed concerns, about the sharing and use of this personal information.
Sure. That information stays tightly within the health department. It's purely done as a precaution so that in a situation where there may be a positive case at a restaurant, at a bar, the health department is able to contact trace more closely in those incidents. We've noticed that there have been certain times where there's been a positive case at a restaurant or a bar related to an out-of-town waiter or waitress or bartender, and we have not had the right the information of that person to be able to kind of connect all those dots. So this information will not go anywhere other than the health department. It stays there, and it's done for a contact tracing purpose.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Is Director Gonzalez here by any chance?
I think they all stepped off.
So
It's
I'd
at 9 o'clock.
Right. I'd asked about lights at Elysian and a
basketball court.
At the basketball court, and a petition was started, which has over 200 signatures on it. How do we go about making this happen? And it doesn't have to be permanent lighting. It could be, I know that when there were no lights at Elysian for that long period of time, the police had set up lights. So maybe those could work for the basketball court.
I will talk with Director Gonzalez tomorrow. I just put a note in it, and see what that process would be, and I'll circle back with you, Council President.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Yes.
Any other council members?
Oh, I hope everyone has a lovely holiday and Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
Good night, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Motion closed?
Close.
Oh, yeah.
Second.
And everyone, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Michael, where are you? How come you're not in City Hall? Where is he?
Oh, here. What are you having for Thanksgiving, Jimmy?
Oh, I'm going to have a nice turkey sandwich from Jersey Mike's.
No.
I'm going to have a turkey. What else am I going to have? Lasagna. I'm going to have shrimp cocktail. We're going to have shrimp parmesan, fried shrimp. We're going to have a big antipasta. What else? A couple of big bottles of wine. And that's it. You want to come over?
I kind of do. Will Governor Murphy allow it?
Well, he's coming.
That's
He's going to bring the turkey.
funny. Thank
All
you.
right.
Happy Thanksgiving.
All right. God bless.
You too. Take care.
All right, Alyssa. Good job.
Great job, Alyssa.